Hi Tiffany, so here's our first shot at verbal feedback. You'll have to let me know how it goes and if it works for you. So to start off, I see that you're tackling an 8th grade standard. You're assuming that the kids already know narrative structure and elements, context, point of view. Yeah, I think that's a good assumption. Your new content knowledge is blank. Make sure you get that piece filled out, okay? So you dug through the standards into the evidence outcomes. So we're looking for a lesson plan that teaches the kids how to engage and orient the reader by establishing context. Excellent. Okay. So your essential questions for the content area: what are the necessary elements to creating a narrative? Excellent. Well aligned. And for the global, where do we encounter narratives in our everyday life and what's the impact of them? That's a really great question. I like that. I think that it has the kids, orients the kids to thinking in the direction of your lesson plan, and yet still allows them to bring their lives in. So that's a really good global question. I hope to actually see that being used in your lesson plan. All right, so scrolling down. So students will understand the elements of a narrative are engaging, context, point of view, introduction of narrator. Excellent, well aligned. Students will be able to recognize narrative structure, recognize engaging elements in a text, recognize context, point of view. Oh good, and you have a by clause, reading a short story of their choice and filling in a worksheet. Okay, excellent, excellent. Pretty well aligned. I have a concern, but that you may address later on the lesson plan. We'll see. This is a writing goal. We want the kids to learn how to write in such a way that engages and orients the reader. So recognizing these elements in a short story is the first step to being able to use them. And so maybe actually using them and writing them is like the next lesson plan or for homework or something like that. We'll look and see. Okay? All right. So for your formative assessment, think, pair, share on all those elements. Excellent. Nice. For your summative assessment, the worksheet. Okay. Excellent. Good. Okay. All right. I like the fact that you're acknowledging some differentiation and modification needs over here. Good. And so getting into a learning plan, looking at the hook. Draw attention to and discuss today's learning objective. Okay. Oh, okay. And then you're going to read aloud the children's book. Okay. And then you're going to ask them the question, where do we encounter narratives? Wait, hold on, you lost me a little bit. What is the flow here? So it's 7:30 a.m. Monday morning, bell rings, kids sit down, and you say to them, here's your objective for the day. And then you read this story to them. And then you ask them this question. I'm not sure how this flows or what's going on here. Give me some more detail. Flesh this out a little bit more. Tell me, I don't even know why you're reading this aloud, or if you're reading it aloud to identify these. And then don't forget that one of the really good engagement strategies is allowing kids to experience before you label. So starting with the read aloud and then saying, okay, who was the narrator? What were the characters? Point of view, structure. That might help, okay? Tell me what your transition's going to be between the read aloud and the question. I like the fact that you're scripting out questions and anticipating student responses. Excellent. Then you ask, what are the necessary elements to creating a narrative that engages readers? That's a pretty high level question, especially the way it's worded. That's very teacher speak, not real kid friendly. I'm not sure that they're just going to pop these answers out for you. You might need to scaffold them into that a little bit, okay? And you say, explain that not all stories will have all elements of the narrative. I don't know. You don't think that all stories have a beginning, middle, and an end? All stories establish some kind of point of view, have characters and a narrator? I don't know. I kind of think that they do. So does Alexander contain all narrative elements? First person narrator, beginning, middle, and end. First person point of view, characters. Yeah, I think so. Okay. All right. For the model, you say you're going to explain the narrative elements worksheet. Choose a story to read in pairs. Fill out the elements of the worksheet. If your story doesn't have an element, explain how you know it's missing. Okay. All right. I'm scrolling down here to see if the worksheet's attached, and it is. Thank you very much. I always appreciate that when you guys actually go ahead and create those pieces and attach them. Now, here's a piece, right, that I think this feels like a reading lesson plan to me. You have the kids reading for the narrative elements and filling out a worksheet that proves that they can read and recognize the narrative elements, and it doesn't quite rise to that level of a writing lesson, where you tell them that just having these narrative elements is going to be enough. I'm going to scroll back up to the objective, okay? The objective is to teach kids to write in a way that engages and orients the reader. And I didn't see any instructions specifically on engaging and orienting the reader. I see you instructing them in recognizing the context, recognizing the point of view, recognizing narrator and characters, but not getting on towards actually recognizing the value of them in writing. So, and Tiffany, let me just tell you that you're definitely not the only person. A lot of lesson plans I've looked at just feel like very reading-oriented lesson plans. I think we hung out there last semester so much, that it's going to be weird to think about introduction to the narrative writing versus introduction to narrative reading. So think about redoing this lesson plan and really getting it into the writing element of it. Okay? Thanks.